What up, YouTube family? Welcome back. Another video, trucking or riding with Pastor T. However, I did change it somewhere in there. But anyway, I got to change these shocks out today. Figured I'd do it myself. And I've got a 2015 Cascadia 113 and short nose with front steer axle air ride suspension. As you can see, those airbags. So here's my shocks, and this space, because it's a short nose and I've got the extra components, it's a little bit tight getting in here. I know on the 115s you got a little bit more room, and you could pretty much do it from without getting down under the truck or anything like that. With this, I had to get down under the truck. See, they got this brace right here, these two bolts. And I've got this big impact right here that I've had for a while. I got from Harbor Freight a couple years ago when I was changing leaf springs and axles on a trailer that I have, a utility trailer I pull around out on the property. But anyway, so this bracket is in the way, and my next step is going to be to remove these two bolts, and this bracket is on a hinge, and I'm just going to let it flip down. And I finally got in there, got those two bolts off. This one and that one. And it takes 1 1/8 wrench or socket. And that's what I use. I got my adjustable crescent wrench there. That's the bolt. So anyway, if you're ever curious to how to do it, it's real simple, guys. This truck, it'll stay up by itself. You don't have to worry about that. And so I'm gonna get these replaced, and I'll come back and show you guys. This is the new one. This is this right here is OEM from the dealership. It's like 60 bucks, I think, for each. And let me get the part number. There it is. Shock absorber. Again, this is, from the factory. I went to Freightliner and got this. So there's that. Let me get that changed out and I'll turn this back on for you guys. Alright guys, so I got it back on. See, just use my impact. You want to make sure that it's going back on the same way in which you took it off. Right, because these, it didn't have anything special. It was the same size on both sides. It didn't have an additional offset, so it's pretty straightforward. But this is the space here that I was saying that's hard to get to with my impact. So see if I can show you. Tight space, trying to do this with one hand, but see how tight that is. And I got a swivel on here, but that swivel only goes but so far. But I managed to make it work, so we're good there. We got to go over and do the other side. And another thing you want to note is that with these shocks, you want to make sure that when you get to this piece where the lower piece actually compresses into the upper piece, that this upper piece is always facing down. And what that does is it helps protect the shock so that you don't have any water or a bunch of debris seeping down in here causing early corrosion or anything like that. So be mindful of that. Make sure this piece is always down and not up. So let me get to the other side and then we'll be done. Alright, so here we are on the other side, guys, and as you can see, there's not very much space on this little DD13. There's the shock, and that's the space that I was just in on the passenger side, showing you guys the bracket and everything and the bolts. So that's the space. This is the one that's actually bad on the driver's side. So you want to keep these things, you know, it'd be best practice to put this into your maintenance for your yearly service, to have your shocks changed. You know, unfortunately, I've had this 2 years, and this is my first time changing them. So I will be honest and transparent about that. But you know, for 60 bucks, you know, changing it every year, you know, that shouldn't hurt you too bad if you're running your business as a business and not necessarily pocketing all the money that's coming in. So 60 bucks aside, this is the one that's, and so what happened is I noticed Friday leaving out of the truck stop that my truck was leaning to one side. And I went, checked my airbags. The airbags were good. Checked the airbags on the cab. Checked the shocks on the cab. Didn't notice. So then the last thing I narrowed it down to was my front shock here. And so it is bad. One thing you can do when the shocks are going bad, they kind of get squishy and they make some noises. Or what you could do is get oil shocks that have the oil inside of them. And as the seals and everything go bad, you'll notice that the oil will start, you know, running down the shaft right there. And that'll give you an indicator that, hey, you might need to go ahead and change these. This way here, there's no oil. So, you know, if you're not paying attention to your truck and noticing that, hey, it's off-centered or whatever, then the only other way that you'd really know is by the wear on your tires. So now that I've done this, I'm going to go, I was due for an alignment, so now that I've changed these, I'm going to go ahead, because I got a PM coming up, and get the alignment, get all that done, and hopefully I won't have any issues. But that's what it looks like right there all together, guys. Easy. I'm no mechanic, but changing parts, taking out bolts, putting bolts back, you know, I can do that type of stuff. So, and it saves me a little bit of money and gets me out of the house. So I don't mind. I don't mind doing it. You know, some things you got to do, you know, for your business, right? So anyway, let me get this other one on, and then I'll come back and recap of the exact tools that I had to do this job and the amount of time that it's taken me to do both sides, minus me stopping to do the video. And if I had somewhere to mount this phone, then I would actually do this in real time so you can see it. But I'm out here by myself, and I'm doing this by myself, so I don't have a way to mount this so that you guys can clearly see exactly what I'm doing once I get in there. Because once I get in there, my back will be covering this space right here, so you wouldn't be able to see, and it's too tight to put the phone anywhere else in there. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. All right, back. I'm gonna close this video out, guys. So there it is. I got the second side done. Piece of cake. I already ironed out the wrinkles with the impact that, excuse me, fitting it in that space. I had already ironed that out on the passenger side. So easy. So we're all done. Once I drive it and allow the shocks the opportunity to move and adjust, then I ought to see some change in the ride of the truck. So what I had was this Earthquake Impact XT Harbor Freight a couple years ago, and I had a you guys can see that, 1 1/8 impact socket, and I had the 1 1/8 wrench right here. I just picked up at AutoZone. The tag came off, but it was right here. But anyway, just picked it up at AutoZone. I think it was about 18 bucks. I think it was at AutoZone. So if you already have it, then you save yourself some money. And I think this socket was 21 bucks. I got the receipt in my pickup truck. But anyway, got that over there. And then lastly, I had my old trusty adjustable wrench, my crescent wrench. And I used this real brief in the very beginning on the passenger side because couldn't get my impact to fit. So I was like, well, I'll just take it off by hand, which you can do. You can do if you have the time and you have the patience to go slow and use some effort and some muscle. You definitely can do this without an impact. I just didn't have the time, the patience, and I didn't want to exert that much energy. So I just figured out how to use the impact and make it work. So that's what I did. But you can definitely do this by hand without a power tool. And again, here's the part number. There's the part number right there. This is shocks for 2015 Freightliner Cascadia DD13 is the or 113 is the size that I have. I'm not sure if it's the same for the 125s or not, but that's what I got. So you know, if you need to do it, I'm sure it's all pretty much relatively the same concept, you know, across the board with these Freightliners, maybe even some Western Stars or something like that. But hey, that's it, guys. I appreciate you rocking with me. Stay tuned for the next one. Pastor T's out.